What's up, gang? Hope you're all doing well. James Karanu back here on the FX. Today, I am here to give you guys or talk to you guys about yet another video I got in relation to the 3D tactical MOBA. I don't know whether I don't know how to call it, but I think that's what they are. The likes of Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. So there is a video that was made by, you guessed it, the Score Esports, talking about Marvel Rivals versus Overwatch. I mean, the battle here has been heated. Of course, there are particular individuals that left from Activision Blizzard, that is the publisher of Overwatch, or over to Marvel Games. And Marvel Games is what developed Marvel Rivals. That is the phenomenon it is today. So yeah, there is, of course, a push and pull from the two. And right now, Marvel Rivals is winning. And it's not for me to actually judge that. But let's hear it from the Score Esports. From this video that they developed just 3 months ago. Yeah, so I'm kind of behind.
Marvel Rivals is now finally out, and the brand new hero shooter in the MCU is being received pretty damn well. Now, that doesn't mean that the game is completely free of controversy. For reasons I'm sure are probably clear to most by now, Rivals shares more than a few things in common with Overwatch. But is it simply just inspiration, an improvement, or a legitimate ripoff? And regardless of that answer, what does this game's success mean for the future of Overwatch?
That's a good question. So,
Before we get into today's video, I wanted to thank our sponsor Cash App for...
No free airtime. Cash up. You have to pay for this, please. So, yeah.
Video, go check out an episode of Mains over on our YouTube channel and check out Cash App.
Announced earlier this year, being made by Chinese developer NetEase
Games
by studios in both Seattle and Guangzhou. NetEase are behind a bunch of games, including a few other Marvel IPs right now, but you may have also heard of them because they were once the operators of Blizzard games like WoW and Overwatch in China. That 14-year collaboration ended in 2023 after a messy breakup between the two, but has since reached a new agreement, and Overwatch will eventually be back in China. Regardless.
Oh, okay. In China, though, right?
So that partnership is likely part of why we're getting Rivals in the first place. And once players got their hands on the beta back in July, the relationship between the two companies became very clear.
With Marvel snappers, Disneyland started taking the money away from Hearthstone, and now they're aiming for Blizzard's true cash cow, Winston Watch. The Winston character in this game is Incredible Hulk, who gets really angry like Winston, who they ripped off of.
Now, I should also mention that there was a closed alpha for Marvel Rivals as well back in May. And during it, former Overwatch pro and current streamer Siegel leaked the contract that was sent out to creators that had access. In the agreement, there was a non-disparagement clause that stated creators will not say anything detrimental to the game's reputation. One example being, quote, malicious comparisons with competitors.
Yeah, not happy with this I think I heard about this.
These rules they made, but still not a great look.
Yeah,
line I pointed out is an interesting one.
That was not a good start.
Last week, and everyone got to see the game. The comparisons became even clearer.
I'm not sure there's ever been a more obvious clone of a video game than this one.
Now, I do have thoughts about all of this, and some of these comparisons, which range from design to gameplay to UI, will be a little unfair, but let me just point them out at first as a messenger. Penny Parker is a big one you'll see talked about online. She is a young girl with a mech and a bodysuit, very much like Diva. To be fair, Penny Parker seems to have been created first, and to be honest, both these characters are most likely inspired by Evangelion rather than each other. Plus, it looks like people have been making comparisons in the comic book world between the two before Rivals was even announced. So, to some, Diva might just be a ripoff of Penny Parker. Who the hell knows? Still, putting her into a hero shooter with a very similar jumpsuit, body shape, face, hair, and goddamn intro was a choice, and I think they knew exactly what they were doing. Another commonly pointed out comparison is, of course, Widowmaker and Black Widow. But once again, Black Widow predates Widowmaker, this time by a lot. She is canonically an expert marksman and wears a skin-tight assassin jumpsuit. I mean, I do remember back in the day, people were calling Widowmaker Black Widow in the early days of Overwatch 1. Still, the choice to include her as the sniper character was always going to draw comparisons from the general public, regardless of how any one person may feel. This is where most of the character designs themselves become less comparable, but it brings us to the game's mechanics. As I said, Black Widow...
To be honest, in my own opinion, I think if you know, there's a lot to actually decide on to whether a game is actually a ripoff. First up, especially if part of the development team moved to the other studio, there's bound to be, of course, similarities. How you can definitely call them ripoffs is quite tricky because there could be inspirations, and it's not for us as the community or the players themselves to actually do that and make that judgment. I think that one, it just requires some special form of investigation to be done. And sometimes some of these even end up becoming lawsuits. So it's actually not a very good look, but you know, um, it's very hard to actually know exactly whether it's an inspiration or a ripoff or just the development team carrying or going with their stuff to the other side. So yeah, and then also on the other hand, you have to check out in terms of like copyrights, what can be patented and what can't. So probably there could be things that were not patented in the process, that they saw it best to move the same thing to the other game that they're working on. Overwatch, in its right, have the right to sue, but I don't know how that will work. If they will do it successfully, well and good. If they don't, or if they decide not to sue, well, it's up to them. So, yeah.
Has a sniper, like Widowmaker, but there are many others you can argue are quite similar. Squirrel Girl has Junkrat's grenade launcher, Star-Lord's E is a mini Reaper ult, Spider-Man's ult is a Reaper's ult, Venom has a swing and ground pound like Ball, Black Panther has Genji's Swift Strike, Hela has Echo Sticky Bombs, the list goes on and on. And listen, yeah, a lot of these abilities are straight up taken from Overwatch, unless Rivals took them from the game that Overwatch first ripped off. I remember the days where people cried about
Overwatch ripped off from another game.
Overwatch being a ripoff of
Team Fortress 2. Oh my
Team
word.
Fortress 2. Yes, even the UI design for the menu music of Rivals is a little bit uncanny at times, but there's only so many times you can reinvent the wheel. Everything is going to be a copy of a copy.
Yeah, you can't call something a ripoff if it ripped off from something else. So I think that one now flattens their chances of actually doing the same thing. So they can't do that if that is the case.
There is also a limit to the good grace you can give a new IP like this. Go a little too far and take a little too...
And it's actually true, yes, everything is a copy of a copy. But it depends to what extent. Direct ripoffs, those ones are an absolute no-no, and it's unethical. Inspirations, I mean, it's fine, but like you have to let the other person know about it. So yeah.
Too much, and yeah, it becomes a bit gross. But other times, there's just no choice, and it turns out a game about heroes saving the world is like another game about heroes saving the world. For example, what if I told you that there's a character in Rivals named Luna Snow that's a support healer who skates around the map and has a music theme? You'd rightfully think that was kind of odd. But what if I told you that she has a music theme because she is canonically a K-pop idol? Now, Luna Snow, Lucio, is kind of making my brain hurt, but once again, there's such thing as a coincidence. On top of that, Rivals would be stupid to not take certain mechanics from Overwatch. That's 10 years of balancing, both good and bad, that they can pick and choose from to make their game even better. All that said, I do think certain aspects of Marvel Rivals were a little unnecessary, and they could have avoided certain criticism. But does it count as ripping off Overwatch? Well, plenty of people will say yes, and then there are those, some Marvel diehards and some legit fans of the game, who will defend it. But in a since-deleted tweet, the former president of Blizzard called it, quote, Overwatch Marvel Rivals, and compared it to other Chinese developer Tencent's blatant ripoff of Horizon Zero Dawn. He then also made it seem like Black Widow's name and Widowmaker's names were too similar, which he then got clowned on for until he ultimately deleted the tweet. Still, some of the arguments are at least in good faith. Games Radar's Josh Rodwell says the similarities are blatant, and that Rivals is, quote, so preoccupied with trying to be like Overwatch that it forgets to play to its own strengths. And in ways, I think this hits the nail on the head for how I feel about this situation. Listen, I think it's insane to not point out the similarities or deny their existence. But at the same time, with any game that takes a liberal amount of inspiration from another, so long as it does enough things different, or at least improves on what it takes to make it a worthwhile experience, I don't know if it matters. And in ways, Rivals does just this. There are characters that just do some really cool shit, like Spider-Man's traversal, which is simple, plain fun, and inventive, even if you're someone who doesn't really care about the MCU, like me. In fact, I think so far Rivals has been by making it third person and
I care. I love MCU stuff.
giving so many characters aerial, climb, and traversal abilities, you always feel like you have a way to get in and out of a fight. And I mean, Doctor Strange's portals are just an absolutely brilliant improvement on teleporting, and the same can be said about the destructible environments. Plus, there's the team.
Yeah, there is something about these games where, like, the moment you die, the distance between the spawn point and where the action is taking place is so far away. Like, I think the teleport is very welcome. The flying, the swinging, all those aspects are very, very welcome because, these games sometimes can be too much.
System that unlocks special abilities for your hero if you match it up with one of your teammates properly. It's a smart way to incentivize people to work as a team and create a balanced lineup without the need for a forced role queue.
If you implement role queue, you lose the enjoyment you have right now of your instant queues.
But if this isn't enough and the honeymoon phase ends and the devs don't add enough more things like this to differentiate and improve, those similarities, be that gameplay or design, will start to creep back out and I think push people away. But right now, the game itself is really good. Minus performance issues and balancing issues. Sidebar, some of these heroes just do way too goddamn much. People are really enjoying this game, including many die-hard Overwatch fans.
There's already so much good. It's insane. The launch was good. The only issue the launch had was that you couldn't buy the battle pass or spend money in the beginning.
Obviously, there's the numbers aspect to it. 10
of
million
course,
players in
that can
72
be
hours
fixed.
at a peak of nearly 500,000 concurrent. That is very good. People are, of course, using it as an excuse to say that Overwatch 2 is dead, but I just don't think that's the case. First off, it's a
No.
new, free-to-play game in the MCU that operates exactly like Overwatch. It was always going to take attention away from plenty of games.
But the thing is, what's the definition of dead? Because I think that thing sometimes can be overrated or even exaggerated, if you know what I mean. So calling a game dead, I think it's a bit. It's a bit too. Okay, from the way I see things, like when you say a game is dead, it can be an exaggeration, but of course, dead means like it has 0 players in it. So yeah, like if you look at it from a logical point of view, but maybe it's just community lingo. Yeah.
On top of that, using Steam numbers for Overwatch isn't accurate because most players launch through Battle.net or console. And the negative reviews, yes, we used it in the thumbnail, were there long before Rivals and will likely remain forever, for many reasons. Regardless, Rivals doing well and existing is good for Overwatch. Fans of the Blizzard hero shooter feel like the devs haven't been listening or really putting in the effort as of late. This competition lights a fire under their ass. And there is absolutely no reason why Blizzard shouldn't take things that work well and are cool in Rivals and just put it into Overwatch. And that goes both ways. Rivals should do the same thing, and they should both continue improving alongside one another. But with that said, I want to hear from you guys. Are you enjoying Rivals so far? And what other elements should both games be taking from each other that they haven't already? And ultimately, what do you think about the comparisons? Is Marvel Rivals a shameless ripoff? Is Overwatch? And does it even matter?
Thanks for watching. If you want
Thank you. I think it's a wrap, guys. That was a good one. Kind of, yeah. I kind of played. I remember playing Marvel Rivals the first. I think it was within the first week when it launched. Of course, that was after now, like officially, like everyone already had access to it. The connection was not so good. A bit of some issues here and there, but I think afterwards, things started getting better and better. So it was fun. It was actually good fun. So yeah. If you ask me for preference, I don't have a preference for any. Yeah, but I just have a preference for good quality content and enjoyable. So yeah, at the end of the day, the customer wins. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. By the way, if you liked the video, please remember to like, subscribe, share this content, subscribe to the channel, share this content, click the bell to get notifications on when I upload, and a whole lot more. So yeah, really appreciate you all. Much love and take care. Adios.